I want you guys to tell me, Chevy Shake or something else. Stick around, stay tuned, and let's roll with that intro. Get in a car like this and smile, there's something wrong with you. What is up, all of my beautiful YouTube family? Welcome back to the Bad LSX Garage YouTube channel. I'm glad each and every one of you could come back by again this week to see what's going on here at the garage, here at the compound. Now, obviously, we're not at the garage right at the moment. Matter of fact, if you hear a lot of road noise, it's because we're near a major interstate, and I'm sorry for that. Just try to bear with me and we'll try to work through it. As I stated in the beginning, we're having issues with a Chevrolet Shake. And if you don't know what a Chevrolet Shake is, let me try to explain it real quick. The Chevy Shake reared its ugly head around 2014, and the Silverados and Sierras. And what happens and what occurs is when you're driving around the road around highway speeds, a shake occurs around 65, 70 miles per hour. Now, sometimes this shake stays, sometimes it fades away and then comes back. It feels like a improper balanced tire, but you will take your tires, you will have them balanced, you will have them rebalanced, you will have them road force balanced, and it still does not correct the problem. A lot of people says it's the aftermarket wheels. The aftermarket wheels do not have the correct center hole and it doesn't line up correctly, so it causes the wheel to be offset a little bit. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, and I'm sort of trying to debunk that today because I put the stock wheels back on my truck just to see if it would get rid of the shake. Well, it's not. The shake's obviously still there. Now, it's not as pronounced as it was before with the big 20s on it, but it's still there. So that tells me that it's something to do with the drive line somewhere. But right now, I've got to get in this storage building and find my jack stands. Only person is myself and you guys here. So I'm going to set you up on some of these tests and we're going to watch together. We're going to see what we see. Now, I'm going to give my results, but if you see something different, you guys put it in the comment section. First thing we're going to check on is the motor mounts. So I'm going to set you guys on the inside up in here somewhere, and I want you to actually watch the motor as I'm torquing up the truck. And what I mean by torquing up the truck is I'm going to actually start the truck, put it in gear, and put my foot on the brake and the gas pedal like we're going to do a burnout. But we're not going to do the full burnout. We're just going to get it to that point. And what that will do will articulate the motor. If the motor mounts are bad, it will actually rise up way more than it should. Now, it'll have a little movement in it because it's factory. It's rubber. They're going to move. But if it moves a whole lot, we know we have an issue. I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm not saying it is either. I just don't think that that's the culprit. There's some movement there, but I still don't think there's enough movement to actually cause that. What do you guys think? What did you see? Now let's go underneath this girl. Let's check the drive shaft. The U-joints don't feel bad. Everything kind of looks and feels the way it should. I don't see any smoking gun. I don't see anything standing out that looks to me like would cause that big of a vibration. Now let's try to flip towards the front here. Now, could this drive shaft be out of balance? Possibly. We'll check that here in a second as well. But I'm just trying to feel the U-joints right now, just trying to see if maybe there's an issue here. And there again, I'm not feeling anything or seeing anything, so to me, this is a little more than it should be, but is it really? I mean, by the time you figure that your axle is going inside the housing and that C-clip is moving, your axles has to move, but we do have some up and down play that feels a little much, but is this the problem? I really honestly don't think so. Now, we checked the motor mounts, we've checked the drive shaft. The drive shaft up towards the transmission does have a little bit of play, but I think that's natural too, because your output shaft has to have some movement there. So there's not a lot of movement, but there's some movement there. Now with that movement and this movement and maybe the others, I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of everything. I have no clue. But as of right now, there's nothing really standing out to me that says, hey, here I am, I'm the problem. It has to be a rolling mass problem, because when you put a heavy set of wheels and tires on it, like these 20 snowflakes, it gets, I mean, horrible. It's just so bad that you're literally, it's miserable sitting in this truck. And then when you put these back on, it's not, and it's intermittent at that point. So wouldn't that say that it's something in the drive line, the drivetrain, axles, something like that? To me, it's more towards the back, because I can let off the steering wheel at 70 miles per hour, 80, 85, with it shaking, and the truck's absolutely straight. It's dead nuts straight, doesn't veer right or left. And if it was a problem in the front, I feel like it would go one way or another, and you could feel it in the steering wheel, but I don't know. Guys, we're gonna take off these rear tires. We're gonna check the run out on these axles and on these rotors and see what they give us. Maybe something will stand out and say, here I am, but it ain't looking promising for sure. Now we got some science going on, but even with the science, there's really not a smoking gun. Well, sorta. So we're gonna spin this by hand. Watch that dial indicator. You see any movement there? I mean, you do a little, but it's very little. But you see something else? You hear that? We could possibly have a caliper sticking. Now, it seems to me like that would cause all the time, but who knows? I mean, this could be the problem. We're going to go to the other side, check the run out on that as well. But before we do, we're also going to start the truck. I'm going to put it in gear, and we're just going to kind of check the run out on the axles to see how that looks. So what did you guys see? Put it in the comment section. To me, it looked like this driver's side was a little bit wonky compared to the passenger side. Now, my eyes could be playing tricks on me. I could be trying to see something that isn't there. That's why I need your guys' help to put it in the comment section. Yes, it does at slower speeds look a little off to me. Now, our tests are the same on both sides. We started off at around 10 miles per hour and worked our way up to 40. However, the passenger side for some reason kicked on the StabiliTrak at around 40 miles per hour, so we shut it down a little bit quicker than we did the driver's side. So now I've got lights to clear off on the dash, but you know, that is what it is. We'll work that out. But for right now, we're going to put back on the tires. We're going to button everything back up, drop it back down, and we're going to roll to the front. Now, I know I said that I don't feel like it's in the front, and I really don't. A wheel bearing, sometimes it's on the left side. 9 times out of 10 is on the right side. So I'm hoping maybe that something will rear its ugly head, and it may be even in the front. I don't know. I'm just trying to find the obvious. The obvious may not be in front of me, but either way, if something happens that I do have to take this truck to an outside source, at least I can say, hey, here's what I've done, here's what I've found, and here's the video proof. Yeah, I don't see a problem up here. The rotor's in spec. The caliper is not sticking. The tie rods look good. Everything looks the way it should be. Everything's greased well. The bushings look good. The only thing that may be a problem is it doesn't look like it's had an alignment. And the reason I say that is most of the time when these trucks have had an alignment, there's a plastic piece up here on the top A-arm that usually gets removed in order to do the alignment. And it never gets put back. It's usually tossed to the side. It's not needed. And both sides still have this plastic piece. So I'm assuming it's never had an alignment. Could that be the problem? I mean, it's a possibility, but I really don't think so. What do I personally think it is? Well, let's talk about it. Listen, fam, I can't say with 100% certainty what's going on here until we start throwing money and parts at this truck. I have some ideas though, and I want to run them by you, and you can see if you agree or disagree. I believe that we have a driveshaft issue, and I believe that we have a driver's side axle issue. And the reason I think, let's start off with the driver's side axle first, is because the weight. You add the weight of the 20-inch snowflake wheels, if an axle is bent, that's going to cause the violent shake that I'm feeling. Then when I take off the 20s and put back on the stockers, it's much, much lighter. Yes, you're still feeling the shake, but it's not as violent, it's not as pronounced. So you take that and mix it with a drive shaft that is possibly bent or has bad U-joints, then I think that's where we're at right here. And the reason I think also that the drive shaft is bent or possibly U-joints is because, well, the readings didn't exactly come out the way I thought. It's a wrecked truck, guys. Let's just be honest about it. Who's to say that when this truck got hit that it didn't bend that drive shaft? We know how weak the drive shafts are in these trucks. That's why they speed limit these trucks to 98 miles per hour, because the drive shafts will explode if they go much more past that. So I think mixed with those two together, I think that's why we're having the Chevy Shake. Now yours could be different. It seems like that every truck has its own characteristics that makes it do the things that it does. This one, however, that's just what I'm thinking. And like I said, until we start throwing parts and money at it, we're not going to know 100%. But that's just my thoughts and ideas. You guys put it in the comment section what you think. So how do you know what parts to throw at the Chevy Shake? Well, if you're anything like me, you're just going to ignore the problem and put an IHC drop suspension on your truck. I know it doesn't make really much sense, but it's going to look good, at least while it's shaking your guts out. So you do want to stick around and stay tuned for next week's video, because we are putting a 3.5 drop on this truck for sure. I love you, fam, and until next week, you ready? Let's do this. Peace. I'm out.